Welcome back to another episode of Comic Conquest. We're talking about the Penguin. We're talking about our boy the Penguin. What a piece of shit.
Pequin.
No, you're right. It's the Pequin, guys. The Pequin. What more is there to say than go watch it if you haven't. We're gonna be getting into heavy spoilers here because there's a lot to talk about the actual world of the Batman.
Breakdown, review,
predictions. Yeah. So let's get right into it. We pick up quite literally at the end of the Batman. We start, Gotham's underwater. Penguin's making his sprint to get anything he can from
the Iceberg Lounge.
From the Iceberg Lounge or the Five Below, whatever the fuck the club under the club is. Which we're not going to go over every single detail, but let's just say Oz meets with Falcone's kid, and his kid is like, "Haha, Oz, you're a loser, bro. You suck." And Oz is like, "I don't take kindly to that," and shoots the shit out of him.
And it spirals into this whole show, basically.
And it just goes from there.
It just keeps going and going, and you think it can't get any crazier, and it gets crazier every week.
Yeah, but we're introduced to a lot of characters that I've never heard of. Victor does not exist. Victor, I forget his last name.
Aguilar.
Victor Aguilar does not exist in the comics. I double checked, but they did give him Jason Todd's origin. If you, I don't know how many of you picked up on that, but bro's trying to lift the rims off of the Penguin's car. That is quite literally Jason's origin, and from there, Penguin gets his little sidekick in a demented Robin way. It's fantastic.
Yeah, there's so much we could do. I could talk about the show for hours, August. I want to do, let's just quickly say, like, give me some of your favorite episodes, maybe favorite moments.
Fantastic moments. Anytime Sofia was on, and it was focused on her, fucking amazing. She killed it. When she has Oz tied up the first time of many times and is, like, got the wire on him, I just gotta say, this entire show, and I was anxious the entire time. I was like, I don't know, like, I know Penguin's not gonna die, but he could get, like, totally screwed up, or anybody could die. It was crazy.
Honestly, I thought there was a chance Penguin could die in the finale. But to go back to what you're saying about Sofia, like, one of my favorite episodes too, and something that showed us so well is that when we were in Arkham that whole episode, it felt like Arkham. It felt like there's a fucking demon buried under this place.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was creepy to the max. It was just dark and twisted in every way that I haven't seen an adaptation of Arkham before.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in the games it has to be kind of like
it's dialed up.
Yeah. I really love the aspects of world building in the show, but we'll talk about more like what happens, I guess, and then I'll give it like a full review of like the writing and everything.
Yeah.
So your favorite episode? Anything with Sofia?
Yeah.
But
favorite though? Yeah. What about you? Do you have one like sticks out?
Every episode, as August said, is so exhilarating, guys. I was in love. Like, I'm in love. Like, at the end, I was like, "Oh my God, give me more!" Like, what? How are we gonna keep building this? Like, you can't keep this pace up, and they keep the sprint the whole time. In particular, one of my favorite episodes is when Vic takes Oz's mom out to Crown Point, and then they go underground, and the lights go on. There's a lot that happens that episode. I feel like I could say any of these episodes would be my favorite episode, and it's a valid argument, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm like, what's an episode that really? Not all of them, bro. I was like, every one of them is so good. At no point was I like, I don't care. Let's move on. Like, bringing back some of the other mob families from they got a bunch of the actors from the movie into this. They got the police captain who I just gotta say, I love his voice. You have the right to remain silent, Sophia. Like, that's fantastic. I love it. ASMR. But yeah, it's just at no point did Matt Reeves go, no, let's let off the gas. He's like, Oz is always going to be slightly behind and ahead at the same time, and you're going to feel that, like, anxiety, and it was just so well done.
Yeah, another one of my favorite moments, too, is when Vic drives away in his car after he has that panic attack.
Oh, yeah.
And Oz and Sofia get wrapped up, and of course Vic comes in, saves the day. Something they did so great, August, is build that character, right?
Oh,
through
100%.
these 8 episodes. you fall in love with this kid. This kid, there's a great parallel between him and Oz, right? So Oz and him both lost their families to water, drowning, to flooding. And Oz, of course, a little bit darker, twisted, kind of killed his family, of course, for his mother's attention and love in this twisted way. Victor's, of course, gone because of the Riddler bombing. And they're left at this weird standstill where they're both inducted into a life of crime, but this fundamental thing at the beginning of their stories changes who they are, right? Oz is a twisted demon. Like anytime Oz got a win in the show, they go, no, fuck you, it's not a win. We're proving to you this guy's an asshole. He's a real villain. And that's something I really love. They emphasize this. It's never fucking gone away. That this guy he is demented, he is twisted, he is dark. He lights Sal's family on fire and watches them burn to a crisp. He doesn't give a fuck, right?
Yeah, at no point did they redeem him, and I was so happy that they did that.
They committed to it. I really give them props to it. They committed to this guy being a villain the whole time, where we could talk about Disney show. We talked about this. This was our main complaint. She's like back and forth, wishy-washy. This guy stands on his guns. And to compare him back to Victor, Victor's kind of a compassionate guy, right? He wants family. He wants this thing. He wants people around him that he could care about.
He wants a better life.
Where Oz at the end proves he only wants to go to the top. He doesn't care what it takes. And really it all roots from this dark, twisted thing that he wants his mother's love, and he wants her to be proud, and he can never get that. Now, the whole thing with his mother was there's so many relationships in the show that are so good because the writing's just so good. And we're talking about more of like what actually happens in the show with Sofia and I can't hold on. Whew, so many twisted relationships. I was about to go like Sofia and that doctor guy.
Oh my god, that guy's weird.
Yeah, dude. I was like, what the heck?
Bizarre.
Yeah, take a breath, right? Take a breath. There's so much that happened. Do you have anything you want to share before I go on another?
Yeah, I mean, I think just kind of you mentioning Sofia, there's also the great like dichotomy against her and Oz, you know. Sofia kind of is thinking she wants to be at the top, but she doesn't know why. She's not really sure. Like, this is kind of what she was meant to be, and she goes on this journey of finding out that she doesn't want Gotham. She doesn't want anything to do with it, which is the complete opposite of what Oz wants. But they're still at odds, even though if they just kind of hand it off to the other. But, you know, there's all the complications as why you can't just do that. You know, Penguin killed her brother. Penguin sent her to Arkham, basically. Penguin stole her drugs. Penguin does so much shit to her. This poor woman.
I mean, she's not that sad of a lady though, because and not that innocent a lady, because she gasses her whole family. Yeah. And the amazing thing about all these like sub storylines that they have going is that they all feel pretty complete and fleshed out and flourished. And like, I feel like Sofia could have is kind of the main character of the show. Victor's kind of the main character of the show. Penguin's kind of the main character of the show. His mom's kind of the main character of the show.
100%.
And they all tie it back to him, of course. But one of my favorite storylines, August, was with Sofia and her little her little niece.
Oh yeah.
The kid that she turns into herself. Her deranged mind and her evilness turns this kid into Sofia. Like, this kid's gonna end up a Sofia, and the actress is so great. I'm forgetting her name off the top of my head. We'll pop it up on screen. What? And when she realizes that, when her character realizes that, she breaks. And she realizes, even I want to leave this cycle, and I'm still trapped inside of it.
Yeah.
Of course, she did not win.
No.
The thing I also love that they stuck to is there are really no heroes in this show.
No.
There's like, when I say that, there's no protagonist that you're like,
let's go, get it.
Good. You see Victor fall into the darkness. You see Oz's darkness grow, and then you see Sofia's realizes that she's stuck in a loop. Like, she's stuck in this trauma cycle that her family has, and she's been imposing it onto this person too, which I think was a great, just a great storyline to add it.
Yeah. I wanna talk about episodes 7 to 8, or at least the character arc, the Oz, or the twist that they kind of do in Oz. Throughout the show, Oz does deplorable shit, right? But kind of up until 7 and 8, you're like, yeah, kind of he's. I mean, like, you kind of feel for him. You're like, yeah, he wants respect and stuff. But then they reveal his childhood, like, origin stuff, and that just kind of seals it. I'm not saying that beforehand he was like, I was rooting for him, but like, sometimes you go like, yeah, fuck those guys. No, after 7, when it reveals that he quite literally trapped his brothers in a storm drain during a massive storm and allowed them to drown by not telling anybody, you lose all respect for him. And then he won't even admit it when his mother's like health is on the line, and everybody knows, like literally everybody knows that Oz killed them. He refuses to admit it, and it's just like, it's that just sliminess that they really drive in at the end to make you just hate him. And when he wins at the end, when he takes that victory and he's like, we did it, I've got the whole city, I felt like shit. I felt bad. I was like, no, you can't. Like, for a minute there I was rooting for you, but now I'm disgusted that I rooted for you even for a second, you piece of crap.
Yeah, they solidify that with all the actions in the finale. And just to add a quick parallel that I really loved, they first tell that story through Oz's perspective, right? And how he saw it, and how he saw his mother, and how he thinks he's helping his mother. And when they open 8 with his mother's perspective of it, and that she knew the whole time that she's living with the devil in her house, it was an amazing flip. And what you said, it plays great into that next scene, where everyone in the room knows Oz. And he's still like bent in his ways, and it just builds that character so much more, I think.
100%. The how he talked about how his mom came out of the room like all dressed up, and she's like, let's go dance, and he was so excited because he had his mom back. Getting the context of her perspective, where she was literally going to send him to die, she was going to have him killed, and that was part of her plan. Warps what was probably the only real, or one of the only beautiful moments Oz had in his life, and just like nothing I can think about his life is good or beautiful in any capacity, and that's just so, it's impressive how you can take something that from one character's perspective, and this is a part of writing that I love, is that you can take something that it seems so positive and good and just totally change it if just looking from someone else's eyes. It's just so well, masterfully done.
Yeah, there's a lot of master classes in this show, and one of the great notes too is like, I think some people I was reading online, some people kind of forget, and like, there's so much stuff crammed in here, you like forget some of the stuff. But there's that moment too when they're in Crown Point and he's talking to his mom, and his mom was in the bath all night, and she's like, don't let me become a vegetable, that's the one thing you gotta promise me. You just gotta put me out of my misery if I can't function as a human being. And by the end of the show, August, of course, she has a stroke. And what's the one thing he doesn't do?
He doesn't kill her. He just props her up.
He props her up to be a vegetable in what he thinks she wanted the whole time, which is a penthouse in the city with a view. And of course, in the finale, we could talk about the twistedness of him and Eve's relationship, which we haven't talked about, which was so dark.
Oh, God.
He has her dress up in his mother's clothes, and they're playing the song that he heard in the club, and the makeup is the same. And of course, what does she say to him, August?
You did good. I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you. You're the best son. And that's someone he pays to sleep with.
Oh my God.
And it's like, that's so dark and twisted that it's like, yeah, this guy, they solidify it, right? Because as August said, they build him up a little bit where you're like, okay, he's an underdog, you could kind of root for him.
Yeah.
And then he wins, and they make sure everything you thought about this guy is taken away from you. And of course, August, the biggest thing that happened in episode 8.
Major spoilers. If you're not convinced to watch it now, go, because this is it. This is your warning.
The moment I was not expecting at all, August. After seeing his mom as a vegetable, everything they've been through together, he says, they're drinking whiskey, and
him and Vic.
The beautifulness in this moment, August, is he's sitting there with Vic, and Vic says something that triggers him, and Colin Farrell did a great job in the scene of acting. And they're having a good moment, and Vic's like, "We did it." He's like, "Oz, you're my only family." And then you see Oz, something snaps in his brain, and the penguin comes out. Like that guy comes out after being so vulnerable from seeing this thing with his mom. The guy comes out, and he has to kill Vic for some reason.
It's because he's the only person he cares about. Like that's the whole thing. The entire time, Salvatore Moroni, who's in this surprise, played by Clancy Brown, crabs himself. He wants more money. He's in here. He's like, he took everything from me, and he has nothing, which is exactly what the Penguin wants you to think. Because if he has nothing, then you can't tear him down other than just killing him. If you can't torture him, and even when you try to take what he has, he's a psychopath. He doesn't really care. And so he had to eliminate the one person that I guess he does care about at this point, which is Vic, who sees him as, like family. So you got to eliminate your weakness, which you're my weakness, Vic. I'm sorry, boy. And it's just heart-wrenching. Just I knew it was coming. I saw it the way they were. I was like, Victor doesn't exist in the comics. They're sitting.
The scene
nobody's
flips
around
so fast.
Yeah, it's such a boom, dead, dying. That's what I want.
We'll hop into a review of it.
Review. Right? If you can't tell, I'm rating it at a 2. Absolute terrible. No. If you've watched any of our other reviews, especially the ones in the past, we've given some things some high numbers, right? That might inflate this, okay? No, this is a real 9.5, borderline 10. Borderline 10.
Yeah, I put this show up, August, with, and this is high praise, Daredevil. Like, every episode hits. I think, I'm not going to give it, I mean, yeah, you're right, 9.5, 10. Our numbers are so inflated, I don't want to give it like a full real number that people are going to go back and be like, wait, but you rated this up.
I want you to go back and watch our other videos, except for Agatha, and then knock almost everything down like 2, 3, okay? Bring those back, except for like the movies, the good movies,
One of the best comic book shows of all time. And to be honest, I wasn't really sure like how this was going to play out, because it's a TV show for a Batman movie in a universe that's getting restarted.
Yeah.
And I think Matt Reeves wrote his case that he deserves to keep creating something, right?
100%.
Not just Matt Reeves, but the whole team that did this. I'm forgetting the lady that she like basically wrote this whole show.
Yeah.
I'll pop it up on screen. She did a great job. It's phenomenal. But yeah, it's one of the best comic book shows ever. I'd argue it's like one of the best just TV shows in general too, like of recent time.
100%. HBO, they're letting people cook, which is great. They did it with The Last of Us. They're doing it with The Penguin. Like, these adaptations are fantastic. Taking these characters, and I mean, especially the direction of going off of Matt Reeves, the Batman, and just sticking to that world. I never felt like I left it. Having those little bits of where it was like, just in the background, seeing Riddler graffiti still there, amazing. You just and the skyline doesn't feel like it's New York. It doesn't feel like it's Chicago, just called Gotham or something. It feels like it's Gotham. It feels tall. It feels disgusting, and all these browns and oranges. It's an almost, I hate to say it. It's an immersive experience of just being in Gotham and seeing not the fantastical aspects of Batman's detective where he's like, oh, the city's suffering. No, you see the city suffering. You're in there. You're seeing Squid and all these other people who are just clamoring to put Gotham back together, and people were missing lights and all this stuff. And it's just a fantastic adaptation of what Gotham should be, and this is how I've always imagined Gotham.
Yeah, the world building is so great with the coloring and the colors they use too, because when you go out and they take the train out to like his mom's house, it gets brighter because they're out of Gotham City. It's like the suburb. When you're over where the Falcone's house, the colors are a little brighter. It's a little but then
blue.
We come back to Gotham and it's moody, it's dark, it's creepy. Like, they built on top of that world that they created already in the first movie. And I don't think a lot of TV shows hit the same like that. Like, I don't think when we go from, to be honest, like a Marvel movie to some of these TV shows, it doesn't feel that same. Like, they're constantly building positively. This, we're meat riding this hard, but I can't.
Oh, hell yeah.
If every project came out like this, it just would be insane.
Yeah. I mean, what is this? This is 3-4 years of development. This is how you take your time with the show. This is a singular focus. This isn't doing 5 things at once to create subpar whatevers. This is my world, and this is an addition to it. Which is what's great about this, and I'm so excited for the Batman 2, is that you 100% do not need to watch this show. It's not at all. Nothing in this show, except for the fact that you hate Oz even more and want to throw him around like you do in Arkham Origins. You don't need to watch this. But you should, because it's fantastic and setting the scene for what Gotham is and how the Batman is trying to fix it. It's just... I'm thrilled and excited.
It adds so much depth to like a character like Oz. In the first movie, it's kind of, he's not a throwaway, but he's just kind of there, and like you play with this idea of what you know him to be, right?
Yeah, he was just kind of a name.
Yeah, they build that character so much. They build so many characters that you saw. Like, they even built on Carmine Falcone in the first movie. It made me want to go. After that episode where Sofia gets put away, I was like, wait, I don't even remember this guy being so, like, I don't remember being this guy so powerful. Like, I got to go back and watch this. I remember, like, the Riddler wanting to kill him because he's kind of a powerhouse, but
yeah,
they build so much on that, and they add so much extra that it made me want to go back and watch the Batman too, which it just shows how great the show is, right?
100%. I think my only note, and this does not detract from anything, would be that Gordon should have shown up at some, like, realistically, like in universe, he would have shown up to the death of the entire Falcone family, because he was working that case of Carmine being arrested. He would have 100% been there. I understand why he's not. They couldn't get Jeffrey Wright. Yeah, he should have just been there. But that,
or by name,
or like Gordon's got a, like, just just that's all we needed. It's just like, Gordon will be reviewing the case or whatever. Because he was so involved. Again, does not detract from this movie in any capacity. I know I keep saying movie. Every episode's a movie. It doesn't detract from the show at all. It just doesn't make sense that Gordon would not show his face at that crime scene. All right, that's it.
Yeah, we could go to predictions, I guess.
Let's go into some predictions. So, a lot of this was, as expansive as it feels, it was also quite self-contained to the gangs of Gotham. A lot of people. Let's talk about rumors of what the Batman 2. Also in production. Let's go. We've heard things about Clayface. There's been some say about Harvey Dent being in it. Mr. Freeze, which is my personal hope, is that Mr. Freeze is in here. But I think the majority of what comic book fans are in here gushing and gooing about is the fucking Court of Owls, which some people in the court scene, it looks like the curtains make an owl shape, which they do. They honestly do. And if that's not intentional, that's insane. But I doubt that's not intentional.
I mean, so we talk about villains, right? And Batman's known for having so many crazy villains. In this universe, it's hard for me to see, like, a lot of these villains be there. Yeah. Like, you're not going to have, even though Matt Reeves said he would do it, Condiment King, like, I'm not going to see a Condiment King.
But that's the intro. That's the intro to the movie where there's just a guy who's like, "I'm the condiment."
I think, like, Killer Croc, I couldn't fully see him do a Killer Croc type character.
No.
I was talking with my friends. I don't think I could see Poison Ivy really. Like, they could do it and it could be really cool, but I just don't feel like Matt Reeves is leading that way.
No, probably not.
I could see him do my want to is like a really sick Mr. Freeze adaptation.
Yeah.
Because we've had a really good Two-Face adaptation. We've had a couple different adaptations of the Joker, and I don't really want to see, to be honest, that version of the Joker that was like
keep him locked up.
Yeah, you can keep that guy away, and I will be completely happy because we gotten the Joker so many times that I'm excited to explore versions of characters that we haven't fully seen before. Of course, Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger, we saw.
I want a real Freeze.
Yeah, like I would love to see a real deep Mr. Freeze because there's so much of that character you could build on with, Nora and his backstory.
100%.
But they also teased at the end, of course, Selena Kyle reaching out to Sofia Falcone. What do you think happening there? Because Selena went to Bloodhaven, right?
Yeah, she went to Bloodhaven, which is probably where. By the way, Batman is never in this movie. He's never in this show. So if you were expecting, he's not in it. So I think he went to Bloodhaven to check up on her. Wink, wink. No. It makes sense. After Carmine disappears, and Selena kind of learns the truth about stuff, and she sees that Sophia's sent away again, is the only survivor of the Falcone family. It kind of makes sense that she would reach out in just a way of like, you're not alone, or we have each other in some capacity, because both of them are alone, I guess, is how the movie and the show kind of ended, is that they were completely cut off from anybody. They were going out by themselves. So I guess it's kind of an act of solidarity, and like, not all your family is a shit show, and I was wronged by them too. So if I know Matt Reeves, or at least there's articles and some interviews say that he wants to bring Sofia back, which I'd be all for it. I don't know how she would play into that. Calm down, Cole. I'm right there with you. I don't know how she would play into it without things becoming overcrowded, but honestly, there were a shit ton of characters in the Batman that we established and had to introduce. Like, you forget about them, but they were there, but they were handled perfectly, had just enough screen time for everything. I have full faith in Matt Reeves. He's proven that he can do group movies with all of the Planet of the Apes films. So many characters to juggle there, new characters every movie, and it handled perfectly. So I don't know. I'm very excited to see what the Batman 2 has to offer, leading off from this, and how we beat the shit out of Oz.
Yeah, you summed it up great, August. I don't know what to say. I'd love to hear what people think about what villains there could be.
Yeah.
Because it's untapped potential.
My big hopes. I have two things that I want. Right. I want Mr. Freeze, and I want Robin. I said this in the Batman movie review. I know. I want him. I want the 13-year-old boy running around with Robert Pattinson being like, gee golly, No, I'm just kidding. I do want Robin. If we are doing Court of Owls, I'd save it for the third movie. I'd set them up heavily in movie 2. Start like dropping those hints of they're pulling strings. Maybe that's the reason why Victor's pissed, is because the court somehow pulled his strings. And by the end, you tease like Bruce comes across like he finally comes across the like nursery rhyme or something, and that sets up movie 3, and then we do whatever other show Matt Reeves has planned, which I think is like Arkham or whatever, and we'd go from there. But those are my predictions and hopes.
Someone I forgot to mention too, there's like just little notes for people that maybe picked up or not, was Sophia was picked up at Elliott Bridge, Thomas Elliott, Hush, yeah, who they teased in the first movie too.
Heavy.
Yeah, so I mean, if we saw that, I think that's like, if you wanted to go super realistic, I think that's probably who we end up seeing. But fuck, man, do I want a Mr. Freeze adaptation, dude, or a Clayface? But Clayface, I feel like Mr. Freeze has got a higher chance than Clayface.
Because I think Matt Reeves himself was the one that said Clayface. I don't know how the hell he's gonna do a non-fantastic, unless we're doing the thing where like he had chemicals sprayed on him and he literally just like molds his face and they just call him Clayface because he can change his bone structure, like not at will, like the fantastical, like he's literally mud or some, just he's like moving shit, I guess. But I don't know. I part of me wants Matt Reeves to slightly commit to more fantastical, like to an extent, the more fantastical sides of Batman, because we already had Nolan, who's like, I'm not even doing Bane on drugs, man. Like, just a smidge, which I think could totally fit in his world. But other than that, I think that's all I've got.
Yeah, my final note is keep Joker locked up.
Keep his ass in. Do not free my boy. Do not free my boy.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you thought about the Penguin, and let us know what you think will happen in Batman 2.